Welcome to Memoirs of a Modern Marriage. We're your hosts. My name is Dave.
And I'm Liz.
And today we have two very special guests from another podcast that I actually have been getting into a lot. It's super familiar with the Wilsons. And I would like to welcome Josh and Amanda. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having us.
All right. So we did not rehearse any opening questions. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, let's see. Should I start with the most interesting thing about me?
What is the? Is this have anything to do with Chris Barron?
No. it has
Okay, go
nothing to
ahead.
do with-
All right, good.
Well, I was going to say you are the most interesting thing about me.
It's true. I am. I am
Aw.
most definitely the most interesting thing about you.
I mean, don't worry. The Chris Barron question is going to come up.
All right, good.
Yeah, it's coming up because I know he's dying for me to ask him about Chris Barron.
Oh no, I've moved on to other things now. I have
Oh,
my sights set a little bit higher.
Bigger and better.
Oh God, I hope Chris Barron does not listen to your podcast.
Oh, does he? Shit.
He might.
Well, we are Josh and Amanda. We have a podcast super familiar with the Wilsons that grew out of the pandemic. Pre-pandemic, we had dinner parties and people over, and then we were just kind of missing that connection. So we started our podcast as a way of connecting with people. We have been married for, I'm sure that it's just based on the premise of your podcast. I'm going to tell you, we have been married for 8 years. It'll be 8 years this December. It'll be 8 years. We're both on our second marriages. We have a blended family, and I mean, I think we're getting it right.
I mean, we're still together, so
Right.
So
8 years is 8 years is a milestone. That's longer than a lot of marriages last these days. But yeah, now that we've already talked about it, how the hell did you land Chris Barron?
So
he courted him.
I did not court him. No, there was no courting. What happened was I wanted, I don't know. He seemed like a nice guy on Twitter, and I was like, I think it'd be cool to kind of talk to one of these guys from the 90s, one of these 90s band guys. I was really into the Spin Doctors at one point. And so I did an episode called The Chris Barron Situation, where we were on the line with another podcasting friend of mine, and I was talking to him about how I could get Chris Barron on the show just as a goof. And Chris and I tweeted it out, and I tagged Chris Barron, and he tweeted back, the Chris Barron Situation ? I said, yeah, here's the link. Go to, minute 35 and listen. I think you'll get a kick out of it. So he did listen, and then he agreed to be on the show. And that's how. It's just that easy.
Wow, that's crazy, because I've never heard anybody ever say there was a brief time where I got into the Spin Doctors.
Well, it was very cute because so Josh had been tweeting at him and it wasn't working, and then he titled this episode, and Chris Barron said on our podcast, well, I'm a lead singer and you made it about me, so therefore
Right.
He was into this episode being titled about him. But we were at Universal with the kids, and we have 4 kids, and we have 2 older, 2 younger, and we were with the 2 younger ones at Universal, and Chris Barron DM'd him on Twitter while we were at Universal, and it was the cutest. He was just so happy. It was a very happy day. Did
you geek out?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding?
I would have geeked out too. I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, I totally geeked out. And for so what he did is he DM'd me. He says, hey, text me. And so he gave me his phone number. And so I spent the rest of that week, going into people's offices and putting, the contact information on my phone and just setting it down on people's desks and wait for them to ask me about it. So yeah. And most of them were like,
Chris Barron?
Yeah, who's Chris Barron? Yeah, I work with people who are either very much older than me or very much younger than me. So there were very few people. That Venn diagram was really, really, the point of intersection was really, really small. There's 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the other 2 that was there was a brief time in the 90s where I got into Spin Doctors.
Yeah, they have that one song. That's what everyone says.
Right.
Yeah. It's that one song about the 2 princes. But yeah, no, that's actually really cool. I kind of did the same thing with Tom Savini, but I think I might have
scared him,
burned my bridge there.
Wait, so that's not going to happen?
Oh, It hasn't even started, but it's definitely not going to happen. I publicly said that I was going to motorboat Tom Savini.
And what part of that do you think might have scared him off? The fact that you said it, or just that you said it publicly?
Well,
Could be
then
both.
You
Could be all.
acted it out too.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was actually the one that just released Monsters Under My episode.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I listened to that one.
Yeah,
That was ridiculous.
yeah. I publicly said I was going to motorboat Tom Savini, but yeah. Maybe dreams do come true, and I'll get him on the show.
We do have a link that we could
Yeah,
possibly call in if we wanted to.
yeah. She grew up with a guy who's like friends with him, and so you never
Okay.
know. It
So
could
there you
happen.
go.
I mean, he's chiseled for 75.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, I don't think there's anything gay about motorboating Tom Savini.
And even if there was, whatever, dude. It's
Right, you
whatever
only live
we're into,
once.
It's all good.
You only live once. But yeah, so I mean, I've been doing a pretty good deal of listening to you guys' podcasts. You have a really good dynamic. I think it's awesome. You must spend a lot of time producing it, like and like editing and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but I do hardly any editing in our episodes.
I have my moments because there are some weeks where I just do enough to get our conversation out. And then other times where I'm feeling like I want to do little bits and whatever. If this was my full-time job, I would be in the quote unquote studio all the time because I freaking love making these little comedy bits and all this and that. And I love even the dumbass background noises that I'm quite certain gets on everyone else's nerves. It just gives me the biggest giggles, man. So I love doing all that stuff. So this last one I spent quite a bit of time on. It was a extra long episode, and I threw a couple of produced bits in there. Sometimes we talk. I cut out my music in the beginning, music in the end, and then bada bing, bada boom, we're done. That's it. So it just kind of depends on how much time I have. But if I had all the time in the world, you'd never see me again. I'd just be my head in the computer.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I feel the same way about this. Like, if I had more time to spend doing this, I probably would just exclusively do this. But we're middle-aged, middle-class people, and we live paycheck to paycheck just like anybody. So
and also there's 4 million podcasts out there right now. So
yeah. And Liz and I have actually made the statement, if nobody listened to us, which we're pretty close to that, but if nobody listened to us, we would still be doing it because we just enjoy doing it. It's fun. It's a good way to have a conversation. It's a good way to meet new people, stuff like that.
We make ourselves laugh.
We do.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I want to say, and I just show up. I just show up and talk and leave. And then Josh stays in here and edits for the rest of the night. So I don't do any. I was in charge of Twitter in the very beginning and I had 17 followers and I was really excited about it. And then I gave it to Josh and now we've got 1,500, which isn't, it's a lot more than I had. So I don't do anything. I show up, I talk, I leave, I lay on the couch and watch TV until he's done. So it's all Josh.
Right now, I am in charge of the Twitter account, and let me tell you, podcast promoters are the worst people in the world. Oh my God, I am constantly getting messages from them, and I'll look at the message and I'll realize what they're trying to do, and then I'll hop out of the DM without saying anything, and then I just get a barrage of question marks.
Oh gosh,
that's
obnoxious.
Like, first off, if I look at it and then leave, obviously, I don't want to do business with you. I'm just trying to be nice. But if you really want my opinion on how I feel about your job, we could talk. Yeah.
I think what you should do is you should have a little fun and get in a conversation with them and angle it towards the fact that you want to promote them. And then try to convince them to give you their bank details and their information and tell them that you'll promote them as a podcast promoter.
That sounds super sketchy. I dig it.
I just always assumed they were bots. I didn't realize it was actual people putting question marks in the chat.
They are all Elon's children's.
All right.
Oh, well.
He has like an army.
He does. He does have
Yeah,
an
and
army.
it just came out now that he had one like with. Did you see that recently? Like he's a
Yeah.
secret one, like right before he and Grimes had their second one or whatever.
I think
whatever.
he had a secret 2. I think that
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
little set of 2.
Yeah.
Twins. Yeah.
Yikes.
Ooh.
Well, I'll
It's
tell
hard to
you
keep
what.
twin secret.
With Elon Musk, Zuckerberg, and Bezos, I think it's going to be about a decade before we're all uploaded into a computer somewhere.
Listen, those 3 dudes are the Legion of Evil, man. They are the closest we have to supervillains right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they look the part.
They do.
Oh my god, they
They
really
100%
do.
do.
They really do. All of them look less than human. How is that all of them look slightly like androids
Maybe they are.
or
I'm
synthetics?
I'm gonna just go ahead and put it out that I believe that they are not really human.
No.
I just
Especially Zuckerberg. He
has that cold
When he
gaze,
was-
and
when he was testifying and like him and all of his people were like blinking in unison,
simultaneously.
That
Oh
was weird.
God, it's the
Like
creepiest
somebody
shit I've ever
programmed
seen.
them a little too synchronous. Oh god.
He looks like
God.
what's his name? Data from Star
Yeah,
Trek.
he
Yeah.
looks
That's what
like
he looked.
Data from Star Trek. He absolutely
And
does.
the
Yes.
and the freaking memes that came out after that, like, excuse me, I need to lubricate my human organs.
Did you see that thing that came out? I guess he gave. I don't even know what it was, but he gave some sort of like a video chat or something, and behind him was a empty shelf except for a bottle of barbecue sauce. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
So incredibly fucking random.
I
Oh
mean,
my
I
God.
even have backgrounds that I can choose from.
I think he's
like-
wandering around saying, "What would a human have on a shelf? Maybe a barbecue.
Barbecue sauce.
That's good.
Yes.
Humans like barbecue sauce."
What would be the most human thing that I can do? I'll have a bottle of barbecue sauce at a place. That sounds good to me. I like, yeah.
Well, for about 6 months, I had a bottle of cocktail sauce on my desk at work. Remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Oh,
That
we'll
was random.
see. Yeah, okay. Maybe it's a thing.
It could be. Like,
How does that stay on your desk for 6 months? Was it a paperweight? Did
no,
you use it to draw circles?
Somebody gave it to me, and it was expired. So I don't know. I was gonna throw it away, and then just never did. It got pushed behind something. So
At some point, you just stop seeing it.
yeah.
somebody's trash is somebody else's treasure.
Even expired cocktail sauce.
Even expired cocktail sauce, because you never know. We could get some expired shrimp and have a party.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Well, that would be a very short-lived party with expired shrimp.
It'd be some kind of party. It wouldn't be the best one to get, but be a good party to have, at least for the next 6 hours in the bathroom. So yeah, we have a kind of a special occasion here on Memoirs that we are wanting to test out here on Mr. Josh. Seeing that I've listened to his podcast quite a few times, and he's like, ha ha ha, I have this game we're going to play. And Amanda's all like, oh, shit.
Yeah, he tortures all of us with it.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about this game?
So
There,
I have a game that I do. It's a song quiz where I give extremely cryptic clues. I'll give the band and the artist, and then you try to guess what they are based on my mysterious but extremely highly intelligent cryptic clues.
So it's funny because originally these were just a bit on the show where I was trying to guess them, right? And then it became this thing where now he does it. He'll give the clue and the artist 2 of them each week, and then he gives people on the socials a week to try to guess. And then we do the next week he'll say the answers and give the new one. I was so happy when the stress got off of me because it was just me and I'm not good at this game. And then now it's out in the world. But it's so funny because when I can tell when he's writing them because he's taking notes on his phone and he's just giggling his full head off. Like he's just so proud of himself. He's just like, oh God, I wish I could just tell you. Like he was so proud of himself.
But they're not impossible because our friend Gavin from across the sea usually gets at least one of them.
Yeah,
So-
well, he might not be human either.
No, stop.
Okay.
So the hardest one that I came up with here is number 1. and that's when I had a little bit more time to think about it.
I thought you were going to say a little bit more alcohol.
Yeah. But as we got closer to time to start the podcast, I said, shit, let's do 4 more. And
You even let me help.
I even let Liz help. And this is the best we got on a very limited amount of time. So
how obscure are these songs?
So Liz wanted to go obscure. Okay, I'm not going to pull punches. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that to him.
We're gonna give softball.
We're going to give the easiest of the easy and try to make it
Oh.
hard.
Oh God,
You're
so,
too
You're so
nice.
setting me up here though, because he's going to be fucking impossible. Go ahead. He's going to be the first clue is 12. The second clue is square.
Close. The first clue, the song is Sagittarius A. And the center of our solar system. And it is by Resonate Botanical.
Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden.
Damn it.
Yeah, right. No, I'm telling you, this is like Also, we have a 5-year-old who's super into space, so we're very well aware of Sagittarius A being a black hole. But is that why you knew it?
Yes.
Okay.
So I won't get any of the rest of them.
Oh, you definitely will. This one, actually, I guarantee you Amanda would be able to get on the first try.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. Bam. Just got
No.
you. Just did you right there.
I know.
No. This is just typically...
It's probably like Backstreet or NSYNC or Britney. Like but you're making like 90s pop references. Okay. No, that's early 2000s. Okay, go ahead.
Gender Delectable by Al Bundy's Neighbor's Recess Yard.
Gender Delectable.
Al Bundy's Neighbors, what? You cut out there for a second.
Recess Yard.
I don't know who Albany's Neighbor is.
You know how long it's been since I've seen that show? Peg. Gender Delectable. Wait, which is the song?
The song is...
a song?
Yeah. Gender Delectable is the song.
So it's a girl treat.
Girl Treat.
I don't
Very close.
Girls, okay. It's girl something. Or it's a boy snack. I don't know.
Boy toy.
No. That's not
I'll give you a hint.
Delectable.
What's another word for gender?
Sex.
There you go.
Sex treat. Sex
Candy.
I'm just going to say Sex Candy. Is that a song?
Sex Candy was my freaking favorite song.
Sex Candy's your favorite song?
I loved that song.
Who sang that? Al Bundy's Neighbor's
Recess Yard.
Recess Yard. Okay, Playground. A recess yard is a playground.
Sex
field.
playground.
Foursquare court. See, this is why I'm really bad, because I just start saying words and Josh gets super annoyed with me because I'm just like saying all the words.
Gender, sex, treat. Sex. It's 90s song with the word sex in them.
Chili Peppers have sex songs. No. I don't know.
Yeah,
Why you gotta be so good at the first one and now we look stupid?
No, that's fine. I'm okay with looking stupid. Look at me. Okay. You want to give me another hint?
They hadn't
Let's
thought
see.
we
What
would
do you
need
got?
hits.
Yeah. So you did have 2 of the words right. Gender Delectable. Sex Candy.
Sex Candy is the title of the song?
Close. It's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Sex and candy.
Sex and candy? Or like it's a kind of candy? Or like
Sex M&Ms.
no,
Sex
that's
M&M.
S&M.
That's the green M&M.
Sex Mars bar.
No.
But Sex and Candy is the name of the song.
Oh, I don't know this song.
Oh, that's the name of the song?
Yeah,
I've
Sex
never
and
heard
Candy.
of that song.
It's by
Don't know that
Marcy's
song.
Playground. Marcy's Playground.
Marcy.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we got Playground. Okay, so we got Sex Candy Playground. I feel like I need to know. I don't know this song.
Can you sing a little bit of it for me?
I smell sex and candy. Yeah.
Now you have to pay them lots of money to use that.
No, 15 seconds. I did that.
You have a
that
very nice
I
voice.
checked.
Thank you for doing that.
Thank you. I actually play music on the side.
There you go. Do you play Sex and Candy on the side? No,
I do
that's
not.
wrong. That's not what I meant.
That's right.
Didn't
On
we
the
have
playground.
that song at our wedding?
Yeah, we did actually play that song at our wedding.
Was that your first dance? Amazing.
All right, so the third one Liz came up with.
Okay.
No pressure, Liz.
Now this
You
one's
totally
pop.
threw that out there. Just pop.
Pop.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
This is you then. This
It's
is
ve-
this isn't
Well, no, he assumed I was going to know Sex and Candy off the bat, and I didn't. So okay.
But I will say this. I'll give you your first hint before she gives it to you. It will get stuck in your head.
It's always stuck in my
Oh.
head.
Okay, let's go.
No,
Earworms.
you
Well,
can-
what's been stuck in my head today is Teen Beach Movie, so I'm happy to replace it. Thank you.
So it's Glyph by High of Low.
High of Low. Glyph?
Yeah.
Glyph. Sign? No.
I saw the sign by Ace of Base.
Yep.
This guy.
Damn.
Yep. Yep. Now,
I
yep.
saw the
Nope. Here
sign,
it comes.
and it opened up my mind. Oh, I'm there.
Yep. No, it's a thing now. Earworms.
It's always we always like torment each other with that song. It's
Yeah.
out of
It's-
control in our house.
Okay, so Ace of Base, they only had the one song though, right? Did they
No,
have
they've
another
had like
song?
they
they've-
all sounded the same.
yeah.
That's why you're confused.
No, but I like as far as like okay, Spin Doctors, 2 songs, right? The Two Princes and the other one,
Little Miss Can't Do Wrong.
Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, and Jimmy Olsen's Blues, 3 songs. But Ace of Base, right? The one song, I saw the sign. What other songs did they do?
Oh, that she wants is another baby.
Another
She is
baby.
gone tomorrow.
Okay,
What's the
Yep.
name of that
so
song?
the 2 songs.
Another
Was
Blue-
that
I
really
don't
the
know.
lyrics?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what a song!
Yeah. All right. Now this one's kind of easy too, because like I said, we were rushing at this point. So Bad Weather's Coming by Wayne's Sidekicks Creek.
Garth. Oh, the Thunder Rolls. Garth Brooks.
Hey.
Oh, now she's got a Garth Brooks past. This is probably the only person I'm jealous of in her life is Garth Brooks.
No, I was super into 90s country. Like I don't like today country, but 90s country was pretty good.
Right, and you had a thing for Chris Gaines and Garth Brooks.
No, I
and
did
all
not
the
have a
things.
thing for Chris Gaines, but I said that I saw Garth Brooks in concert. And it was probably one of the best concerts I've ever seen.
No, what you said was one of the best experiences of your life, and this is
That's-
after you met me.
That's true. It really was a great concert.
Now,
Sorry.
I have to say, it was hilarious when the Chris Gaines thing happened. I'm sorry. Like, all of my friends laughed at it.
Oh,
Um,
it was cringy.
Yeah, it was
super
ridiculous.
cringy. I did not
have.
Josh lied when he said I had a Chris Gaines thing. That's not true.
But
But
she has a-
but Garth was a. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say she has a Tommy Lee Jones thing and a Dan Aykroyd thing. So I totally get it.
That's
Wait
why
a second. Wait.
That's why I like
And,
Dave.
like-
He's got that Dan Aykroyd.
In like
Yeah, you
current
do
age.
have like the Dan
I do.
Aykroyd,
I do.
hairline.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, we got to
my-
dig into this whole Dan Aykroyd thing, Liz. What's that
Yeah.
about?
I don't know. He's hot and Canadian, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, Canadian.
I mean,
I think I'm more concerned about the Tommy Lee Jones thing because that started when I was very young.
she's into guys.
Oh, is that because
with
of
like,
Men in Black?
No, The
No.
Fugitive.
Okay.
and she's into like guys that are like super old with like receding hairlines.
I think I have a grandpa.
And I
too.
think that's
I was
actually
gonna say it's not a dad thing, like a dad complex. It's a grandpa complex.
yeah, little gilf action there. Yeah, man, my hairline's been in recession since 2008, and it's a turn on for her. So,
Well,
I
that
dig
works
it.
for you.
You
Yeah.
lucky man, you.
right.
He goes in every morning before she wakes up and shaves a little bit more up.
All right, last one. Now this one was like within the last 5 minutes of us scurrying to get down here.
Some of the best ones are at the last
Yeah.
minute.
Elevating your body by railroad sign.
Elevating your body.
My railroad sign.
See, this is a hard one. You're saying you just did it at the last minute.
Elevating your body.
Lift.
Corpse. Something with corpse. Burying your corpse.
No, elevating.
Digging up your corpse. No?
Grave robber? What?
Grave Digger
Grave,
by
no,
Dave
that's...
Matthews. It's a good song, by the way.
It is a good song, but that's not it.
I didn't get this one when
elevating-
he told me.
Railroad sign. Okay. Like the
Think of the
crossing?
appearance. Yeah, think of the appearance of the railroad sign.
It's a cross. It's an X. It's an X.
it's a
It's an X.
it's an X. Do the X-Men do like a soundtrack?
The X-Men. Yes, that's what it is. It's clearly the X-Men.
Lift.
You're making this symbol. That symbol is nothing but an X. That is
Yeah.
an
No.
X.
It's a crisscross.
crisscross.
Oh.
All right.
Very good.
Right.
Very good. Very good.
So it's
Jump.
But it's not jump around though. Jump around with somebody else.
Yeah, that
House
was
of
House
Pain.
of Pain.
Yes.
House of Pain. Damn it, I should have thought of that one. All right.
Dwelling of injury.
All right, so I've got one for you.
Oh, did you
Oh.
know this was going to happen to you? I'm very
it's
sorry.
just that I've got this one that
I
don't know if I don't know if
I had a feeling.
used it or not. Well,
Yeah.
it's just I don't know if I used this one or not. And so I was on with Dan Belson and I did it and he had never heard it before and he listens every week. So maybe you've heard this one. I don't remember if I did it or not. Okay.
Okay, let's hear it.
So, laughing at your male genitalia really brings up the temperature of my revolver. That's the song.
See,
Happiness is a warm
what we
gun by
have
the
on our
Beatles.
show.
Bam. Very good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very good.
What was the-
revolver. I got to
What-
figure out a different way to say revolver.
What was the
The Beatles was these honey makers would need these implements to build a house. Be tools.
Oh, good. But I don't understand how happiness is a warm gun is laughing at your male genitalia.
Ha,
Ha, happy.
penis.
No, penis.
Ha, penis is a warm gun. Bam. There you go.
And I did not hear
Oh.
that one before. My band is actually covering that song right now. So it's
Oh,
kind
very
of
good.
So we hear that a lot.
yeah.
That's super cool though.
Yeah.
But now every time you sing it, you're going to think about penis instead of
I
happiness.
hope so.
It's
I
been that
sure
way
hope
for
so.
years. It's been that way for years. I've been like, ha, penis. It's
Right.
nothing new. Now, I heard something about a spinoff on a recent episode. Come on.
You're spinning off to cover the sugar-coated murder ladies. You're going to do a re-listen podcast called Sugar-Coated Escape Room or whatever.
So here's the thing. These podcasts that are based on like rewatching shows or, commentary on movies or whatever, they're hot, right? They're hot.
Yeah.
And that's so I figured if I can just cover other podcasts, I can grab their audience and then I can, get a new audience and all the work is mostly done because I'm just commenting on what other people have done. It's so easy. Bam.
Right,
Success.
yeah. So
but I will never see you again.
Well,
yeah, that'll be the end of your humanity. You're just going to be sucked into the podcasting world at that point.
so
True.
this is what we suffer from with our show. You're supposed to be able to give a 10-word pitch, right? Your elevator pitch on what your
Mhm.
show is about. I still don't know what our show is about.
Yeah.
I get it.
We just always say that ours is like
A nonsensical conversation between a husband and wife.
children.
Yeah. Gigantic children.
Giant babies.
I mean, essentially that's what it is. It's, there's
Especially that monsters under my episode.
oh my God, that one was the worst. But it was so funny.
No, it was great. But I feel like you guys really, there are times where you get serious and you really dig into the whole marriage thing. Like that's like you zero in more into that than we do.
Yeah.
We just happen to be married. We don't really.
Not okay. That's not what I'm saying. Jesus. No, but I mean, it's just we're I'm not quite certain what we're about yet.
I would say that, I mean, aside from like the fact that you have bomb ass production and really good editing to yours, I would say you're pretty close to what we're doing, except for we talk a little more about marriage,
Yeah.
So it's nonsensical conversations, really.
See, we started, when we started, it used to be called the Wilsons Do a Podcast during the pandemic. That's how we started. And we would just talk about that. We would talk about connecting. We would talk about how we're getting through it. But then it seemed kind of a drag to continually focus our show into the fact that an aspect of our world is a fucking dumpster fire. So we decided to jump off of that. And ever since then, we kind of trying to been search for some sort of definition as to what we are.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're based really heavily in the fact that you loved radio growing up, and so like the bits and the interviews and then the segments are kind of like that format.
Yeah. So there you go. Done.
Oh, well, there you go.
Figured it out.
A married couple with nonsensical conversations that loves radio.
Yeah. And tormenting people with song quizzes, but apparently not you. You're good. So good. Congratulations. Cause that would have taken me a really long time. I would have been like testicles, penis. I just would have just kept saying testicles and penis for a very long time.
It's okay. I say that for a very long time, usually on a daily basis. So
anybody who's just now tuning into your podcast right at this point is going to be like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Well, you have a title now to this episode. So
Testicles and penis. Oh, yeah.
Or
that's
hot
definitely going to
penis.
be it.
Yep.
I mean, because usually we just take like a segment from our show and make it the title. Like, usually. Sometimes we just kind of get the feeling of it. Like we just actually uploaded an episode called The Loss of Loved Ones, which is geared heavily towards, my recent experience. And I kind of go over my entire history of like people who's died that meant something to me in my life. And it's pretty emotional and stuff like that. And there is no time in that I say the loss of loved ones, but that's like the exception to the rule. Like the general episode is about the loss of loved ones. But usually we just take an excerpt, and I think you just won the show.
But see, again, like that's I appreciate that about you all, is that you all get serious on some things, and you just kind of just let it all out. Now, I'm allergic to that usually, and she's usually wanting to go deep because, I mean, her background lends itself to that, and also that's just the type of person she is. But I appreciate that you all just go deep whenever you get serious, whenever you want to get serious, and that just is really honest, and I appreciate that.
I think it kind of humanizes us a little bit, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be always about like, dumb shit. We can be serious, but I also want to be engaging too, which is big for any podcaster. They want to be engaging. So, we see what works for us, the numbers don't lie, and we just kind of play off of that.
He's gonna throw up. I'm sorry, the dog's throwing up.
Oh, do your
Take
thing.
him out. Take him out. Take him out. Take him out. Well, that was fun. You gonna keep that in?
We can, or I can edit that out. Your call. I'll kick this off by yeeting this here water bottle into the trash. Yeet.
Hi there. Yeet.
Yeet.
So, like I'm walking out my door, it's a beautiful day out here, and, a piece of mail out there because, they gave me the wrong address or whatever, and, beautiful day. little bit of raining, no big deal. But it looks like one of these cats here decided to leave me a dead bird. So what I'm going to do is take this here dead bird. I guess I better zoom out. I'm not real good with this camera stuff, so bear with. And take this dead bird here, and we'll just yeet him off the porch.
By the way, and being that you guys are in Florida, and I recently was in Florida, fuck Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful state. Fuck Florida. Fuck the yellow flies. Fuck the love bugs.
We got lots of things here.
Yep. Lots of things that we wish weren't here.
Yeah. It's 100% like the bugs are my least favorite part about Florida. That and where I was at, I mean, like, honestly, not too many people know where Perry is, or I'm sorry, Crawfordville is, unless you spit on the map. You can find it.
Where's Crawford? I don't know where that is. Where is that?
Right outside of Tallahassee.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you barely got into Florida, and it was
bad. Yeah.
Like you just got over the state line.
That is not a great part of Florida.
It's really not, though.
No.
Any of our listeners in Florida, the Panhandle right now, go to hell.
Oh yeah.
It's not their fault.
I mean, it kind of is.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're in the bad part of Florida as soon as you get through like Valdosta, Georgia. You cross over and everything just turns to dirt and sand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, and fuck Florida.
Yeah,
or swamp. Well, I mean, we're right in the middle of a swamp here in Gainesville. I mean, that's all it is. Just a big ass swamp. Lots of snakes. I fucking hate snakes. Mosquitoes, the size of your hand. Roaches, alligators.
Oh yeah.
You said snakes.
I did snakes. Yeah.
So we're north central. We don't get a whole lot of we'll get like tropical storm weather. We don't get a whole lot of hurricanes like Josh got when he was in Miami. But a couple of years ago, like 4 years ago, we had a hurricane come through, and we for a while were dealing with moccasins in the yard, like water moccasins, because the neighborhood flooded so much that they were coming out and just being like, we live here now.
Well, are you guys both originally from Florida?
I'm from Central Florida, like right in between Tampa and Orlando. So I was born and raised there, and then I've been here came here for college and left for a little bit and came back. So I've been here for a long time.
I've been here like I guess 10 or 11 years now.
In Gainesville.
But I'm from Miami, Florida.
But he was born in Canada.
Yeah, but I mean,
but lived there for a very
short amount of time,
3 months or something.
Unfortunately, I'm not a citizen.
I know. We keep saying like, I wish you had dual citizenship because.
So you were born in Canada, but you're not a citizen, or you just lived there?
No, I was born in Canada, but to an American. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. They treat Americans differently up there.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
especially Americans who are running away from the draft in the 70s. Well, that's a different story.
Well, apparently they make him president or some shit.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
So I had to run away because the dog was throwing up. And but what I was going to say when you were talking about getting real and humanizing it, what I was going to say is that I really appreciate it, especially because I have had a whole lot of loss in my life as well. I mean, from a very early age, I just feel like I've had so much loss. And so just talking about it, talking about your experiences helps people know and feel that they're not alone. Yeah. And I think that's really powerful. And I mean, that's why we originally started doing this, because when the pandemic hit, Josh was an essential worker, so he still had to go to work. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I'm very fortunate that I can do my job from home, but I had a 2-year-old and a 12-year-old that I was trying to get to finish school, and dealing with this 2-year-old who I just put in front of a TV all day so that I could keep doing my job. And I had a lot of guilt about what, and so that Josh just said, maybe we had been talking about doing something together, because I'm a writer, he's a painter, he's a musician, like we do different things creatively, but we've not done a joint venture before. And, so the idea was, well, maybe other people need to hear that you're struggling and that they're not the only ones out there doing that. So I really appreciate that you take that lens. And I think that it's really powerful.
it's hard to put my emotions out like that because I'm not a very emotional person.
No, and I mean, even when we were recording that episode, we were talking. My mom passed away last year, and I'm sitting there like bawling and trying to talk, and he's just like stone faced talking about his experiences, and
Yeah.
so
Um, it doesn't mean that I don't feel anything because I
Sure.
do. But I had a very like rough upbringing with like, the typical 90s stepfather,
Mhm.
that, and by typical, I mean, it's your stereotypical, but it's not everybody's stepfather. She had a stepfather that loved the hell out of her, whereas
Mhm.
mine was like, I'm not his kid, you know
Mhm.
so the beatings and stuff like that always just came naturally to him.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, I mean it happens,
Yeah.
but I can't say that it's like made me a worse person or anything. I just kind of learned from the experience a little bit, but it also kind of taught me to stave my emotions
Mhm.
inside a lot. So because it was he's going to beat you with a belt, and if you cry he's going to beat you harder, you
Right.
know so I learned to kind of stifle them emotions
Mhm.
inside, and it just kind of carried with me throughout my life. Not that I don't feel anything, it's just not out on the table like
Mhm.
like a normal person would be.
like my family.
Yeah, her family, they, oh my god. If the dog slept for too long, they start crying. Is he dead?
I mean, I kind of get that too. I would go in and like, is he breathing? I would be a little bit, but that's just yeah, I get that too.
But
So
here's the thing. I can totally relate with that because there's a lot of that story that I share, and like
not the dog story.
not the dog story. But as a kid, I was very reactionary, very sensitive, very emotional. But because of the way my dad treated me, I had to shove it down. And so, in the same way as result now, it's still difficult for me because I never saw it modeled to me how to appropriately um, express your emotions. And so even now, I mean, she'll tell you that I'm very closed off sometimes. But you said something in there that I want to bump back on, and you said normal people. Well, there's no such thing as normal people.
I could agree with
There's
that.
there's probably more people who feel the way, especially in our society now, who feel the way that you and I feel about expressing emotions than feel the way that these other two feel. To be honest, just because of
the
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 way
con-
that we were raised.
the commoners.
Yeah, I think we're the commoners and they're royalty, quite honestly. But no, it's so important getting back to this whole idea of grief because I deal with a lot of grieving folks at my job that we all know it's going to happen. I mean, it's not going to be a surprise that there's death in the world, and yet when we go through it, we still feel like no one's going to understand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of that has to do with eh, a lot of people, you don't know how somebody else feels because you're not somebody else. So
Mhm.
like in your mind maybe, and this is just, an opinion I have. In your mind, it's the most horrible to you, but nobody
Mhm.
else can share that same emotion that you have because everybody's kind of wired to be self-serving. And you see it in today, just out in the world right now. People are self-serving. And
But I kind of had that feeling last year because you weren't close to your mom, and you were trying like it'll be okay. I know it's hard, but for me, I felt like you didn't exactly know what I was going through because you weren't close to your mom.
yeah,
So
Mhm.
yeah, but at the same time, it's like there are people that I've lost that I've been close to,
yeah, I know.
much like my mom. Like I lost a daughter, and you know,
Mhm.
um, so it's the dynamics are always different for everybody. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, you're right. Everybody thinks that you'll never get it. You don't ever understand. And I understand. I understand when people are feeling bad. I feel, I empathize. I sympathize. I do the best I can, but as far as emotions are concerned, I just can't express them, you know.
But just talking about it though on your podcast though, I mean you're and I was going to use the word normalizing, but right, that's just kind of counterproductive to what we're saying. Normalizing talking about your feelings, even if you're not
Yeah.
expressing them. But just talking about it helps people know that, I mean, if this is the place where we can get deep, because we don't get deep on our podcast. So I in my first marriage I had two miscarriages. I had my daughter, and then or before my daughter I had two miscarriages, and my former mother-in-law told me, and she had had a miscarriage as well, don't talk to anyone about it. Like, this is a very personal thing, like you don't talk about it. And so that was very much like, just that was that family that I had married into was very closed off. It's very personal. It's somebody else's business. But then the more I started talking to people slowly about it, the more I realized you feel like you're going through this thing that's very singular to you, but it is a very shared experience by many, many, many people. And the more that we start talking about it, and the more that we make the connections of, I've also lost a child. I've also, like the more that you make those connections with people, the more we just feel like we're not alone. And that's a giant piece of just being human.
Yeah. Um, and exactly what you just said was a point I was going to make. So when her mom passed away, um, I told her something that somebody told me when my daughter passed away. And I said, it'll never get, it'll never get any easier.
Mm-hmm.
You just learn to live with it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes time, and it takes as much time as it takes. There is no, when we were talking about her mom the other day, it's been over a year, and she
Mm-hmm.
just started crying, it never stops hurting.
Oh,
Um, and do you mind if I talk about what happened to us?
Hmm.
Okay. So right here, you'll notice that we're both wearing a necklace. She has one on too. Um, there's ashes in there from a miscarriage that she had.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And, you know, um, he was far enough along to where
Yeah.
you can see, um, the baby. And it
Mm-hmm.
really, really, I couldn't even, they asked me if I wanted to see him, and I couldn't do it. And she unfortunately had to be the first one to lay eyes on him. And
Yeah.
it got hit hard.
I was home alone when it
Yeah.
happened, and yeah.
I
Mm.
was I was at work, and she was home alone. And so I mean, she understands too, you know that kind of loss. And it doesn't matter, especially with a baby. It doesn't matter how far along you are, if the baby's already here. It never, never, never leaves you, you know
Yeah.
and so this is our remembrance of him, you know and we both
I
have
love that
one.
you have that. I'm sorry that
Mhm.
you went through it. I love that you have something to remember him by, is
Yeah.
what I was trying to say.
Well,
Both of mine, I had one really early and then one pretty well into the pregnancy. And it doesn't matter how far along you are. As soon as you know you're pregnant, you start planning that child's life, right? And so, I
yeah.
mean, that is it's a loss of hopes and dreams, and I'm so sorry that you went through it as well. Know that though, the more that we talk about our stories, the more we give other people the comfort in knowing that these things that are pretty taboo to talk about aren't
Mm.
they're not singular. They don't just happen to us. They happen to millions of women and people. So yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, when it happened, hearing all these women that I knew who had also had miscarriages, and I had no idea because they just didn't talk about it. So that was kind of eye opening that it's more common than anybody thinks. So
It's incredibly common, and that was the thing that happened to me too. The more I started talking, women I had worked with for years,
yeah.
I would,
Hmm.
once I had to say that, the pregnancy had ended, like, oh, that happened to me, or that, like, it just it's much more common. And yeah, I think that's one of the things in our society that we don't talk about. But I have great hope, because I look at, one thing that I grew up, so my brother died when I was 11, and then that just started. Like, I've just had loss after loss after loss after loss. My Both of my brothers are gone. Both of my parents are gone. My best friend has gone. Like, we have had, just had a lot of loss. And oh god, I totally forgot what I was talking about. Oh, but so I grew up with a lot. Nobody talked about mental health issues, but my mom losing my brother completely fell apart, went into deep depression. But I also grew up in a very evangelical Christian home. And so it was like, you just prayed. You didn't like go seek mental health support, like you just prayed. I have memories of my mom being taken to the hospital because we thought she was having a heart attack, and she was having panic attacks. And I am diagnosed with generalized anxiety. We have a couple of our kids have anxiety, and I am really encouraged now in watching our 15-year-olds generation. Her and her friends, they talk about it so openly in a way that was not talked about when I was growing up. And so I have hope for these people who are coming up, after us, and that these things like grief and mental health and just our lived lives that we share are much more like, they're much more open about it. And so I do have that is encouraging.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like I feel like, and especially going back to your point about being an evangelical Christian growing up,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of problems I've seen, and this is not attacking religion in one
Oh,
form or
you can bring
another.
it here. We're fine. It's a safe space.
Yeah. Well, I'm an outspoken atheist, and I just I was born and raised a Baptist. Tried to
Mm-hmm.
find my way through high school like anybody else. I tried all the different pagan religions, and I really just come down to George Carlin said one time. He said, I believe in the sun. And that means a lot to me because, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's there. It's there. I could see it. It gives me everything I need. It, it was the most beautiful words I've ever heard come out of that man's mouth, and he says a lot of beautiful words. Um, but and she's still Christian, and we don't butt heads about it, but it makes for some very spicy debates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I think that is what is wrong with the construct of religion, or at least the walls that the religion puts up, is whatever happens to you is between you and God.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get that inner peace unless you find somebody to share the experience with. You'll never find you'll never find that learning to live with it, as I like to say, um unless you talk about it. If
Mm-hmm.
and most people who haven't been what that you've been through, they don't care, or they'll care briefly. But it's with other people that have shared your experiences with, that help you find peace within yourself, and I think that is just a wonderful thing. And when I learned that, that's when things started getting easier for me. um because I mean, I lost my daughter 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It took at least 5 of those years to even openly talk about it with people. you
Yeah.
know I've talked about it with people, but in very limited passing. um but then, once time went on a little bit more, I found that more people have shared that same experience, and I can talk with them about it, and sometimes the conversation can go on for hours. The nightmares that I would have began to slowly start going away, you know, and I started noticing, that my mental health was improving. So I think it's a wonderful thing if you can share that experience. I think it's wonderful that, and I kind of hope people in a, for a lack of a better word, normalize
Mm-hmm.
expressing it, you know. That's my thought on the matter anyway.
But again, it's that thing. When you start to talk to people, you realize, oh, that happened to me. Oh, that happened to me. And you start to make these connections, and you don't feel alone. And you have the space in which to speak the things that are really heavy on you. And it does lighten you a little bit. And it does. I mean, I'm all for finding a professional person to talk to, but also just knowing that you have people who understand you. We just all want to be understood. We all
Right.
want to be seen and understood. It's just a basic human desire. And so
I mean,
thanks
I
for making
guess,
a space to do that.
hey, no problem. And I'd love to have you guys back on for maybe an episode that isn't so, you know, introductory with you guys on, more as like friends, and we just kind of have a conversation where we talk about this kind of stuff. Because yeah, you're right. These episodes are going to keep coming, they're not going to stop. We are going to have our fun, but I'd like to slow it down sometime. And like, we actually make a plan to talk about this kind of stuff, and maybe we'll have you on for that. And to the benefit of, to the benefit of both of us, really. I mean, I don't personally like to just roll up in a doctor's office and just start talking to somebody randomly about people who died in my past, but it's really nice to just, find somebody that shares the experience. I think it's great that you guys have, or at least you, Amanda, have been through a lot, just like we have, and we can talk about this kind of stuff openly. And I bet this is driving Josh crazy, because I haven't heard him say much of nothing.
No, here's the thing. She's rubbed off on me. I mean, and the reality is that in my job I deal with a lot of I work with the senior population, so I deal with a lot of death and a lot of the serious things. So I certainly have the capacity to talk about it.
Or at least listen to people talking about it. But yeah,
Right.
and I lost my mom a year and a half ago too.
Mhm.
So it's like, I mean, I don't yeah, I mean, you get used to it, I guess, but it never gets easy. And my mom
Yeah.
was my best friend and was incredibly close to our daughter, and she had dementia, and so the mental decline was, I mean, she was sick for a while, and so it was kind of like this really long, painful, drawn out thing. But she died while her skilled nursing facility was on lockdown, and so we hadn't been able to see her, and there's a lot of like stuff that I still deal with that. And so like I'm so sorry. And we could do episodes on all the things, but it's nice, it's nice to know that there are people out there that share your experiences. And Josh is not super like chatty about it, but I mean, he was raised by a single man. And so he didn't grow up with a mother figure, and his dad died 2 weeks after my brother died in 2015. So like we were from my brother was just found and then we were in hospice with his dad, so like boom boom boom, like we've had a lot. And so I think one of the things we talk about is we're fortunate that we found each other, because I can't imagine going through this with someone else or by ourselves. And but it's been kind of shitty, because it's like since we got married, it's just been a lot of like
Yes, and
really
I'm really
crappy stuff.
really not wanting you to make that connection.
Well, I know. But I mean, right. The universe brought us together so that we can handle this, not like we set off some sort of weird butterfly effect or whatever.
That's right.
But I can agree. I mean, I can't imagine going through like losing my mom with my ex-husband. It just,
Yeah.
he was an asshole. So, I mean, my ex-husband was a jerk. So I'm very grateful that I have Dave, who's not a jerk, because I mean, he's very strong and very I don't know how to say it, but he helped me get through it. And
It's my
he
not.
still is helping me, because I mean, even like last year, I mean, towards the end of the year, I just like lay on the couch and cry, like, I need my mom. And, so he was there to pick up the pieces. And
Our dogs are talking. um,
They have opinions about
Yeah.
how long you've been recording. They're like,
They're-
no, we're ready for you.
they're very strong opinions. I'm actually expecting my uncle around now.
I was just going to say, I wonder if your uncle's up there.
It probably is. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up.
All right.
I really want to thank you guys for coming on today, and sharing your experience with us. If you'd like just to take a couple seconds here and give yourself a plug, you're more than welcome to. This is your stage.
Well, you can find us super familiar with the Wilsons on anywhere that you catch your podcasts. we're very active on Twitter, and it's at Familiar Wilsons, and we have things on the other socials as well. But Twitter's kind of where we camp out. So yeah, come listen to us. New episodes every Sunday night and or Monday morning, depend on whenever I'm done editing. It's a lot of fun, so you should join us.
Come try your hand at the song quiz.
Well, I think that they just did.
Yeah, but every week now they can.
And I think that is amazing. I actually have not seen that. I don't know why I have not seen that, but I want to participate. That just makes me feel really good inside, because like happiness is a warm gun. I can relate with laughing at your own penis.
That's right. Ha
Yeah.
penis.
Ha penis. I can relate with that. But yeah, so I want to thank you guys once again for being on today. Again, this is Memoirs of a Modern Marriage. We are your humble hosts. My name is Dave, and Liz went to go check the door. So we will see you next week.
Bye. Thanks for having us.